What's going on? It's your boy Bowie here. I just want to talk with y'all today briefly about my hopes and wishes for this upcoming Mortal Kombat 12. And I have MK9 playing here for reasons that you probably might already imagine. If you've been following this channel for any amount of time, you know that I have footage from all kinds of Mortal Kombat games. I've been playing Mortal Kombat ever since the 90s. I didn't have a typical MK experience that a lot of people had, which is growing up seeing it being played in the arcades. I didn't see it all that much. I pretty much grew up playing it on home consoles. And I played all of them. MK1 on the Super Nintendo, MK2, MK3, MK4, Deception, Deadly Alliance. Actually, Deadly Alliance is first. Deadly Alliance, Deception, Armageddon, MK vs. DC during my college years, MK9 towards the end of my college journey, MKX, and now MK11. And I'll be playing MK12 as well. But, as far as Mortal Kombat is concerned, I want to talk about some of the things that the previous Mortal Kombat, or the latest Mortal Kombat 11, got right, and more importantly, what they did wrong. Because MK11 is a brilliant game. Graphics are spectacular. Voice acting is stupendous. Mechanics are more fluid, more fair. The game is bright and bold. Lots of new mechanics. Customization, custom variations, custom outfits. You can even name the custom variations. The game did a lot of things right. Guest characters are on fleek, as well as guest voice actors for the first time. I mean, we got Sylvester Stallone to be Rambo. That's all you gotta say. The production value alone for MK11 solidifies it as a trendsetter and an iconic game in the franchise. However, having said that, all those beautiful things, which are true. Oh, not to mention the netcode is amazing. The best that a Mortal Kombat game has ever been. Not to mention the inclusion of a combat league and an improved training mode, as well as a character specific tutorials and things of that nature. Like MK11 has a lot going on, and the content doesn't stop. You know what I mean? Like, I've only listed like a fifth of what the game has to offer in terms of what you can do and play and all this kind of mess. But having said all of that, Mortal Kombat 11, it committed some, ghastly sins, the likes of which fans are likely not going to forgive them for a long time, unless they see that Mortal Kombat 12 is completely different than what they've experienced and what we've experienced over the past 3 or so years. And so it's very important that Mortal Kombat 12 gets some key things right. For one, it absolutely needs to get rid of the breakaway system. That has to go. Mortal Kombat needs to either return to the breaker system that this game had, or don't allow the game to break at all. Do not allow characters to break out of combos once they get hit. One of the two. Because the breakaway mechanic is probably the single worst idea that NRS has ever implemented in a Mortal Kombat game. It punishes a person for making good reads, for hitting the opponent and comboing them, which is the whole point of what you're supposed to do in Mortal Kombat. You're supposed to hit the opponent and combo them for the most damage that you can get. But in Mortal Kombat 11, you can be punished for doing that, because your opponent can drop out of the combo at the right time for them, and depending on who you are, you can be full combo punished for still continuing this combo. Because when they drop out of your combo, it's not like your combo ends. You're still doing all of your animations and your moves and stuff like that. Even your specials still come out on whiff, which does not happen in any other part of the game. Under no circumstances can you cancel a string into a special on whiff. It does not happen. You have to at least connect with the opponent in order for a move to come out on whiff. But when you initiate a combo and the opponent drops out, your specials still come out. And so some characters get completely hoed over by this, like Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Melina. So many characters. Shao Kahn suffers from it real bad. I mean, it's terrible. But then also, the input for Breakaway was down in block, which was one of the very worst input decisions ever, and it was never changed. We crouch block to do things all the time as fighting game players. It's the premier way to block, honestly, because characters have a lot of low attacks in the game. You know, they use a lot of down 4s and down 3s, and those go right underneath your block. And then there's low projectiles as well, quite a few of them. So low blocking is a great idea in general. But what happens is, when you get hit with a move and then you try to go and low block it, so many times your breakaway will come out when you don't want it to. When you weren't trying to break out of that move or break out of that combo or break out of that string, you'll get a breakaway when you weren't trying to get one. And it's costly. The MK9 style breakers that this game has don't have this problem. You will never ever break away or use a breaker when you don't want to, because the input is forward and block. And you have to have already gotten hit with a whole combo in order for it to happen. So it's not going to occur off of a projectile or off of some random collision. You have to be in mid combo in order for it to occur. You know. So breakaway has to go. Another thing that has to be severely tweaked are the fatal blows that MK11 has. Now, fatal blow as a concept is actually really good, because one thing I don't miss from this game are X-rays, and the fact that in order to use an X-ray, you got to spend all your meter for a Peasley 33% for most characters. So many characters easily get over 33% with one bar. So why would you ever use those 3 bars for an X-ray. You really wouldn't. It's not worth it for most characters. And so, in so many instances, the X-ray was a useless move. The Fatal Blow is a terrific alternative to that because now it's tied to health rather than meter. That's a terrific idea. What's not terrific about the Fatal Blows is that you see them every match. And the reason why you see them every match is because you got to whittle your opponent down to 30% health, which is very easy to do. It's common. It will happen in every single match. Melina's probably around that percentage right now as we speak. Look, so she's already in Fatal Blow territory. If this game allowed that. Fatal Blows need to only occur at no more than 10% health. When you're at 10% health or lower, that's when you should be able to do a Fatal Blow. Because otherwise, they happen too often. But the other more prescient thing about Fatal Blows is that when you use one and it whiffs or the opponent blocks it, you can just use it again. It doesn't go away forever the way that X-rays did. Because when you use an X-ray in this game, it was gone. Whether it was blocked, hit, whatever, it was gone. And your meter was gone too. Now you could do it again, but you'd have to build all that meter back. But now, shit. X-rays, Fatal Blows are a comeback mechanic that don't go away. And so it inspires a lot of scrubby ass gameplay. And then what makes it worse is so many characters have Fatal Blows that hit from full screen or 3/4 screen and stuff like that. Or Fatal Blows that you have to block, and when you block them, you can't retaliate. And then so many characters' Fatal Blows track you and can hit you from full screen, or they don't need to track you because they're straight projectiles or something like that. Like, they are just some of the scrubbiest moves in the game. And they ignore neutral because now, as soon as the opponent has one, all that good ass footsies that you were playing in the mid screen don't mean anything anymore. Because now you have to obsess over this move that's armored, possibly tracking, possibly going at least sweep distance, which is a long range. It's just too much. It's too much to deal with. And you don't even have to hit confirm the damn things. So they Fatal Blows absolutely need to be reworked for Mortal Kombat 12. But probably the most important and prescient thing, and really I could include custom variations in this, and I'll probably try to, but the identity of Mortal Kombat has to be respected and built upon, not subtracted. This game, Mortal Kombat 9, had 1,000 problems. It had meter rain glitch. It had input bugs. You had moves that had variable frame rate data. Or frame data, I should say. The character tier lists were terribly imbalanced. There were 7-3, 8-2, 9-1 matchups all over the place. Characters had 100% death combos. It didn't make any sense to pick a character that was on the bottom 10 of the roster because you just would not win, But I will tell you one thing this game got right. This game upheld the identity of every goddamn character that is on that roster. If you play Johnny Cage is known for Nut Punch, Fireball, Shadow Kick, as well as the little, uppercut move that doesn't really do all that much. He has all of that in this game, and they expanded upon it. They even gave him his classic MK2 vertical kick. He made it a normal. So Johnny Cage plays like and feels like Johnny Cage. Sub-Zero, he's known for Slide, Ice Ball, but then over time he added Ice Puddle, he added Ice Clone to his repertoire. He has all of those moves. He was able to form ice weapons, so some of his normals involve him creating ice weapons, and using them to harm enemies. They retained Sub-Zero's identity and really expanded upon what he was allowed to do and what he was supposed to do. And that's true of every character. Now let's compare that to Mortal Kombat 11. A character like Sonya. Sonya is Mortal Kombat's first lady. And probably fighting game's second female character of all time. Because if you consider Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat to be the two games that put fighting games on the map, Street Fighter has Chun-Li, and she in that game came out first, and then Mortal Kombat had Sonya. In Mortal Kombat, the first game, Sonya was known for 3 moves. She had her projectile, which I affectionately call Onion Ring. She had her square wave punch, which is where she leaps into the air and, attacks an opponent in a square wave pattern. I don't know what the hell a square wave is, but whatever. And then she was known for her leg grab, which was probably her most devastating move. You want to know how many of those moves she has in MK11? 1. She has her onion ring. She does not have her leg grab. She has Scorpion's leg sweep move from Mortal Kombat 2, but she does not have her classic Sonya leg grab. The one that she used to kill Kano with in the 1995 movie. That move's gone. And she does not do her square wave punch. It was replaced with some stupid air flying kick that's deathly unsafe on block and is otherwise useless. They tried to give it armor break properties though, but the move is so slow that there's no way you're going to really use that move for that purpose. And so, now, what did they do for Sonya? So, Mortal Kombat 11 has custom variations. And the idea was to give characters access to a whole bunch of new and old special moves that allow players to, define a style for their character all their own. Okay. So what are Sonya's specials? Well, she has a parry. Parry's fast, but she has a high parry and a low parry. And the inputs are very similar to each other. So you could mistakenly get one when you try to do the other. And the parry has a very strict timing. So if you're wrong, you're going to whiff and look stupid. And so you're not going to use that parry very much. She has a dive kick, very similar to what she had in Mortal Kombat 9, but the dive kick does less damage on her combos than if she just did a regular jump in. And if it's blocked, she can't cancel into anything anymore. It's a good move to have, but you're better off just hitting a regular jump-in punch because you'll actually add damage to the combo instead of mostly subtracting it. She has a diagonal air onion ring, which that's cute, but her regular onion ring is so good, you don't need to shoot it diagonally. Yes, I'm going to let this video loop again because I'm not done talking about MK11. She has a bunch of moves with her drone, which the drone was a terrific idea. You know, they gave her the ability to use a mechanical drone to help fight alongside her. Problem is, that drone's not very useful. It's slow, and the attacks are slow. And so it often winds up not helping very much at all. And she has several moves that use her drone. And so they put so much thought and effort into this move that's not all that useful. Sucks. Let me see. I mentioned the stupid kick. I feel like I'm missing something. I'm really not, though. There's only one other move I didn't mention, and that's her onion ring cancel. That by far is her very best custom move. So she gains the ability to cancel her projectile into a string, and it gives her access to extended combos. Sounds nice in theory. Problem is, you gotta have crazy execution to use it properly. And even then, Sonya herself is so limited as a character that you're only gonna cancel into the same strings. And if your opponent correctly guesses what you're gonna cancel into, they can kill you. And that's not cute. That's her best special customized move. Notice, I didn't mention the Kiss of Death. I did not mention the Mortal Kombat 3 upward rising bicycle kick. She does not even have her cartwheel or her military stance that she had in this game. She doesn't have her grenades for Mortal Kombat X. You know, they retconned so much of her stuff and replaced it with unique things, moves that are unique to MK11, but vastly inferior version. They're just vastly inferior moves. They're not even versions of what she had before. They're not even trying to be what she had before. They tried to give her a new identity. And she's not the only character they did this with. They did the same thing with Kitana. In this game, Kitana's a character who she hits hard. You can't jump at her because if she throws a projectile, she's comboing you for free. And you just have to be very careful with how you approach her because she'll kill you if you do something dumb. Because she can combo you in the air with her regular projectile. In Mortal Kombat 11, that does not exist for Kitana. She is a grounded, ungraceful, slow-moving character that has terrible backwards mobility and very limited combos on the ground. I mean, she has a great combo string, but her best combo string is a dial-in string where if she whiffs it or the opponent jumps over it, she's dead because they can whiff punish her for years and years. My homeboy Wallace hates that damn string, and for good reason. And as far as comboing off of her projectiles in the air, what combos from projectiles out of the air? They don't exist. And that was part of a deliberate decision on NRS's behalf to tone down combos and juggles for Mortal Kombat 11, which will go down in history as one of the very worst ideas they have ever had. Now, people got the wrong message. They somehow got the idea that there weren't going to be any combos at all. It's like, no, this game has combos. This game has juggles. But they specifically decided to tone down the amount of juggling that you can do in Mortal Kombat 11. Characters fall to the ground faster, because gravity just is higher, and so you can't do as much stuff in the air as you would have been able to do in this game. Like a juggle like you just saw right there is barely possible in MK11. And that lowers the combo creativity. Also, characters don't have neutral jump punches to get bounces on opponents. I mean, they can do a neutral jump punch, but it doesn't bounce them along the ground to get a juggle. So that's a lowered source of combos. Characters barely have any launching strings or launching normals. They combo almost exclusively from their special moves. And some characters might get 2 special moves that combo or lead to a combo. Some get barely none. Or just 1. And all that does is it just limits the creativity that players can come up with. Because I bet you if I play this game right here, Mortal Kombat 9, there are combos that I have not discovered yet. And this game is 10 years old. Over 10 years old. It's like 12 years old almost. Meanwhile, MK11, I've been doing the same Sub-Zero combos that I found the first month of the game. Same combos. Same basic structure. There's been some difference as things got added and other things got discovered, but not much difference. That's not good. Players don't want to feel like they found their character's best stuff the first month in. We need to feel like there's so much more that we can discover years and years later. It should feel like a good movie. And Mortal Kombat 11's, by NRS making the deliberate decision to tone down such a vital part of the identity of Mortal Kombat, which is crazy combos and insane juggling, air juggling, which is a uniquely Mortal Kombat thing, they've decided to take one of their best qualities and neuter it down for nothing. For nothing. Because what do you gain from lowering combos? You don't gain a goddamn thing. You certainly didn't gain neutral from doing this. You didn't gain anything. But they probably did it to try to emphasize the importance of doing crushing blows. And I understand that, but you should have given people the option to not use them if they wanted to, or not have to rely upon them. Because so many players get them accidentally anyway, and they don't even optimize them. So, but those are 3 of the biggest issues that plagued Mortal Kombat 11. Another 4th issue is the lack of patches / radical changes. So in response to people saying that NRS patches their games too fast and too drastically, NRS took the exact opposite approach with MK11 and decided to barely patch the game. And when they did patch it, change very, very small things or change characters in, insignificant ways. The problem with that approach is that long-standing issues that players have been talking about from the very get-go often went unresolved, like the breakaway issue. You know, things like, Sub-Zero having characters go through his damn creeping ice low attack on block. Bugs and glitches and things of that nature. Johnny Cage's force balls still don't jail on some of the members of the cast. Long-standing issues that should have been addressed just go unresolved. And now they're not going to be resolved. Because NRS said, nah, we ain't working on this game no more. And we're going to blame COVID and say that that's the reason why we ran out of time. No, you didn't. Other companies were able to work their way through COVID. Or maybe during the height of COVID, they stayed dormant. But then once shit was over with, or once things let up, they got right back to supporting their game. But that's another topic for another video. Point is, they patched too little. And then they didn't even do it consistently because some characters were drastically nerfed, seemingly for no reason. Characters like Johnny Cage getting his plus frames killed off, which again kills part of his identity because in both Mortal Kombat 9 and MKX, he used his plus frames to continue pressure on characters. And so by getting rid of that, you kill part of his identity and you don't give it anything viable to replace it with. Characters like Sonya and Shiva and Scorpion got the nerf bat due to player outrage. But then characters like Geras and Jackie, whom, though admittedly Geras got toned down mad times, he's still just as obnoxious as he ever was. So the patching strategy that NRS employed wasn't even utilized consistently. You overpatched lower tier characters like Kitana. Stopped her from being able to, combo off of a move. One of her only air attack moves that extended a combo. They purposely went out of their way to lower the amount of time she had to combo from it, thereby making sure that she couldn't combo off of an air projectile. And I'm like, why would you do that? That's part of who she is as a character. Ugh, it's highly infuriating. Like you can hear that, I started this video off calm and relatively, unemotional, but the more I talk about it, the more infuriating it gets. Because it is infuriating. And so MK12 needs to absolutely respect, uphold, and build upon the long-established identities of all of its characters. No matter who's on that roster, you keep the things that made that character that character. Keep the lore, keep the gameplay, keep even the archetype. Okay? It was good for Mortal Kombat 11 to bring back Scarlet from MK9. She only appeared in one game. That was very cool. What was not cool was taking Scarlet, who was, an insane rushdown character in this game, and completely revamping her to be a zoner and not making her very good at it. I mean, don't get me wrong. Scarlet can annoy you with her zoning, sure. But some characters just negate her whole existence because they don't care about the way that she zones. And she has a bunch of slow mids, and her strings have a bunch of gaps in them. And so if she can't zone you, she can't beat you. Or if you zone better than she does, she can't beat you. So all those Scarlet players that love the way she played in MK9, it's like, who the hell is this? I don't know this character. This is not the Scarlet that I grew up playing. This is not who I wanted. And I don't blame them. I didn't even play Scarlet in MK9. Never touched her. But I would be very upset if they, for instance, took Sub-Zero and said, hey, he's going to be some other kind of archetype that we didn't establish him as. I'd be like, what the fuck is this? He doesn't have Ice Ball. Ice Ball does what now? Slide does what now? You know, I was already upset when they decided, oh, we're going to get rid of Sub-Zero's Ice Clone. It's like, all right. I understand why you did it. But then they put an Ice Clone replacement in the game, which I'm like, if you're going to have a move that's analogous to Ice Clone, why not just give us the Ice Clone? Arctic Trap is analogous to the Ice Clone. It's a move that is set up and the opponent freezes when they make contact with it. That's a clone. You should have just gave us the clone. You know? But what happened was they gave us this pseudo clone. And before we could even fully test to see how good it was, NRS decides they're going to nerf it. And take one of the things that made the damn thing fun and remove it. You know? And it's like the move was already slow. You had to set it up. Nothing was guaranteed into it. It gave a layer to Sub-Zero's offense. It made him very fun to play. Now you said, nah, fuck that. You can't have fun playing this character. We gave you a bunch of tools to play around with them, but you can only do the things we want you to do with them. You can't be too good with those tools now. You might piss some people off. It's like, well, then don't even give us this thing then. Don't even do it. Why don't you just keep the identity that Sub-Zero had? Keep the moves that he had. If you're going to sit there and neuter this new-ass move of his, and then turn around and give an Ice Clone-esque move to somebody like goddamn Geras, because he has a Sand Clone. Now, it doesn't freeze on contact, but it is something that you set up, and you can use it to combo the opponent. And it's something that the opponent can't be anywhere near, because if it goes off, they get launched. So, when I see Geras with a Sand Clone, I'm like, you could have gave Sub-Zero his Ice Clone. There was no reason to take it from him, other than trying to mitigate whining and moaning ahead of time. Anyway. But, all in all, Mortal Kombat 12 needs to avoid doing those things, making the same mistakes that MK11 did, or not that the game made mistakes, but it needs to avoid having the same kind of mistakes that NRS had when making MK11. Make juggles great again, and I hate to use that language or phrasing because Donald Trump is a loathsome piece of shit, but the phrase stands. We need to make juggles. We need to restore juggles back to the way that they were. We need to restore character identity back to the way that it was. You need to respect lore, respect gameplay, respect MK tradition, and build upon it. Not subtract from it. Don't go trying to reinvent a character to something new. or in the case of someone like Sindel, turn a good girl into someone who was not only bad, but someone who was always evil and lied to us this whole time. That's not good storytelling, and it infuriates fans. Don't do that, NRS, with MK12. Respect the characters. Respect the legacy that you have built. Okay? Respect it. Don't try to hide it. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Don't try to ignore it. Build from it. Uphold it. Apply it. Just like you did in MK9. That doesn't mean that you'll stop people from complaining, but you'll at least mitigate most of those complaints to things that you can actually fix. But yeah, those are my thoughts on MK12. I hope NRS does me justice, man. I hope they do. But anyway, y'all, peace.